The blade that cuts the self, ending the inner war. You stand at the precipice, not of a battlefield, but of your own mind. The roar of the crowd, the chilling silence before the fight, the gnawing doubt that whispers from the shadows. These are not external enemies, they are born within you. This inner war, a silent, relentless conflict, drains your energy, paralyzes your will, and steals your potential. It's the fear of failure that makes you hesitate before taking that crucial step. The dread of judgment that silences your true voice. The anxiety of the unknown that keeps you tethered to the comfort of the familiar, even when it suffocates you. You've felt it, haven't you? That cold knot in your stomach before a presentation, the racing heart when facing a difficult conversation, the overwhelming urge to retreat when confronted with a challenge that demands your full courage. This internal battle is the universal struggle, a constant undercurrent beneath the surface of your daily life. It's the invisible hand that guides your decisions, often toward a path of least resistance, away from the very growth you secretly crave. You might have tried to ignore it, to push it down, to distract yourself with fleeting pleasures or endless busyness. But the inner war persists, a persistent hum beneath the noise of existence. It's in these moments of quiet desperation, when the facade begins to crack, that you realize the true nature of your adversary. It's not the boss who criticizes, the competitor who outpaces you, or the circumstance that tests your limits. It is the internal landscape, the terrain of your own thoughts and emotions that holds the key to your liberation. This script isn't about learning to dodge the blows of life. It's about forging the unshakable shield and the decisive sword within yourself. It's about understanding that true mastery doesn't come from conquering the external world, but from conquering the internal one. You are not merely a recipient of fate, you are the architect of your own reality, and the foundation of that reality is built within the fortress of your mind. The wisdom we explore today is forged in the crucible of ancient battles, honed by the discipline of samurai who understood that the deadliest foe was not the one across the field, but the one within. Miyamoto Musashi, a legendary swordsman and philosopher, did not just wield a blade. He wielded his mind with unparalleled precision. His teachings, often distilled into cryptic aphorisms, offer a profound roadmap for navigating the complexities of our own inner conflicts. He understood that the path to victory, whether on the battlefield or in the arena of life, begins with an unyielding focus on the present moment and a ruthless examination of one's own internal state. This is not about adopting a stoic, emotionless facade. Instead, it's about recognizing the power of your emotions and learning to channel them, not be consumed by them. It's about transforming fear from a paralyzing force into a sharpener of your senses, from a deterrent into a catalyst for decisive action. You've likely encountered advice that tells you to be brave or overcome your fears. These platitudes, while well-intentioned, often fall short because they don't provide the practical tools to achieve such a state. We are not here to offer empty encouragement. We are here to delve into the practical, actionable philosophy that allows you to systematically dismantle the internal barriers that hold you captive. Imagine standing before a raging fire, not with a bucket of water, but with the knowledge of how to redirect its flames, to harness its destructive power into a controlled, purposeful blaze. That is the kind of transformation we are aiming for. This journey will require you to look inward, to confront aspects of yourself that may be uncomfortable, but it is in that confrontation that true strength is found. The insights we will uncover are not abstract theories. They are visceral, applicable techniques that have stood the test of centuries, capable of cutting through the self-doubt and indecision that plague so many. Consider the moment you've stood on the edge of something significant. Perhaps it was the night before a major career change, the eve of a daunting physical challenge, or simply the morning you resolved to break a long-held destructive habit. In those liminal spaces, the internal monologue can become a deafening roar. Voices of doubt, regret, and apprehension clamor for attention, painting vivid pictures of potential failure, embarrassment, and loss. This is the genesis of the inner war. It's the moment when the potential for greatness collides with the deeply ingrained fear of the unknown. You might feel a tightening in your chest, a quickening of your pulse, a cold sweat prickling your skin. These are not signs of weakness. They are primal responses to perceived threat. The crucial difference lies in how you interpret and respond to these signals. Are they warnings to retreat, or are they signals that you're on the verge of something that truly matters? The challenge is that our minds are often programmed for self-preservation, which frequently translates to self-limitation. This programming, a legacy of our evolutionary past, prioritizes safety and comfort over risk and reward. Consequently, when faced with opportunities that demand courage, our minds can conjure a cascade of what-ifs that paralyze us. The internal critic, a relentless saboteur, amplifies these fears, whispering that you are not good enough, not prepared enough, not strong enough. This internal dialogue is the primary battleground where your potential is either realized or extinguished. Understanding this dynamic is the first step. It's about recognizing that the turmoil you feel is not an anomaly, but a predictable response to the call for growth. The promise of this exploration is to equip you with the mental weaponry to not just endure this internal storm, but to navigate it with deliberate intent, emerging not unscathed, but stronger, clearer, and more resolute. The core of this struggle often manifests as a profound disconnect between what you know you should do and what you actually do. You possess the knowledge, you understand the risks, you even articulate the benefits of a certain course of action, yet you find yourself frozen, unable to initiate. This is the paralysis of fear, a phantom enemy that feels all too real. It's the fear of making the wrong decision, of facing criticism, of experiencing discomfort, or of the sheer effort required to move forward. Musashi's approach was not to eliminate fear, but to understand its nature and to integrate it into the fabric of action. He recognized that a warrior, like any individual striving for mastery, must learn to operate effectively despite the presence of fear. This means cultivating a mental discipline that allows you to acknowledge the fear, understand its source, and then proceed with deliberate intent. It's about recognizing that the absence of fear is not the prerequisite for action, but rather the disciplined execution of action, even in its presence, is the path to mastering it. You are not aiming for an emotionless state. You are aiming for a state of unshakable resolve that transcends emotional volatility. This requires a shift in perspective, viewing fear not as a red flag indicating danger, but as a compass pointing towards areas where growth is most needed. When fear arises, it is a signal that you are approaching the edge of your current capabilities, precisely where true development occurs. The challenge, then, is not to suppress this signal, but to interpret it correctly and use it as a catalyst for focused, decisive action. This internal war is not fought with brute force, but with strategic awareness and unwavering execution. The promise here is not a temporary reprieve from anxiety, but a fundamental recalibration of your inner landscape. We will explore how to transform the raw energy of fear into a precise, cutting tool. This is not about becoming a different person, but about accessing the dormant warrior within you, the part that understands the rhythm of conflict and the art of decisive engagement. The path ahead is demanding, requiring introspection and a willingness to confront your own internal narratives. But the reward is liberation from the self-imposed limitations that have held you captive. You will learn to see the battlefield of your mind not as a place of inevitable defeat, but as a training ground for forging an unassailable will. The insights drawn from ancient philosophy are not relics of the past. They are timeless principles for navigating the present. This is about reclaiming your agency, about understanding that the most profound victories are won not in the external arena, but in the quiet, determined space of your own consciousness. Prepare to engage with a philosophy that cuts through the noise, that strips away the unnecessary, and that reveals the direct path to overcoming the inner war, not by avoiding it, but by mastering it. This is the journey from hesitation to action, from doubt to certainty, from fear to freedom. You will learn to wield your mind with the precision of a master swordsman, turning every internal conflict into an opportunity for growth and every perceived threat into a catalyst for decisive action. You stand at a crossroads, the familiar path of apprehension stretching out before you, and a less traveled, more demanding route beckoning toward mastery. The internal war you wage is a silent symphony of doubt, a constant hum of what if that can paralyze even the most capable individual. This is not a hypothetical scenario. It is the lived experience of millions, a battle fought in the quiet moments of decision-making, in the heart of challenging circumstances, and in the relentless echo chamber of one's own thoughts. You know the feeling, that knot of anxiety before a critical task, the suffocating weight of expectation, the gnawing fear of inadequacy that whispers just when you need to be strongest. This internal conflict is not a sign of inherent weakness, but a testament to the high stakes you perceive. It is the mind's primal alarm system designed to protect you from perceived threats. However, in the modern landscape, this system is often overactive, triggered by challenges that are not life-threatening but merely uncomfortable. The disconnect arises when this ancient protection mechanism hinders progress, stifles innovation, and prevents you from reaching your full potential. You might have tried to ignore these feelings, to push them down, or to distract yourself with a flurry of activity. But the inner war persists, a subtle drain on your energy and a constant impediment to achieving your goals. The promise of this exploration is to equip you with the mental fortitude to not just survive this internal conflict, but to thrive within it. We will delve into the profound teachings of Miyamoto Musashi, a samurai whose philosophy transcends the battlefield, offering timeless strategies for self-mastery. His approach was not about eradicating fear, but about understanding its nature and harnessing its power. Musashi's philosophy, particularly as articulated in his seminal work, The Book of Five Rings, provides a framework for confronting and overcoming internal obstacles. He understood that true victory lies not in the absence of challenge, but in the disciplined and decisive response to it. This is about cultivating a mental resilience that allows you to face adversity head-on, transforming fear from a paralyzing force into a sharpener of your focus. Imagine standing before a raging storm, not seeking shelter, but learning to navigate its currents with skill and precision. That is the essence of the approach we will explore. It's about recognizing that the internal critic, the voice of doubt and self-recrimination, is not an insurmountable enemy, but a flawed perspective that can be understood and redirected. The key lies in shifting your perception of these internal struggles. Instead of viewing them as signs of failure, we will learn to see them as indicators that you are operating at the edge of your comfort zone, precisely where growth occurs. This requires a conscious effort to disengage from reactive emotional responses and to engage with a more strategic, deliberate mindset. You are not aiming to become emotionless, but to become the master of your emotions, to understand their ebb and flow, and to direct their energy purposefully. The ancient wisdom of the samurai offers a practical, visceral path to achieving this state, a path that emphasizes direct experience, clear observation, and unwavering action. The first pillar of this inner mastery is the confrontation with anger. You feel its surge, a hot, blinding wave that distorts your perception and fuels impulsive actions. It might stem from perceived injustice, frustration with a situation, or a deep-seated sense of powerlessness. This raw, untamed emotion can lead to regrettable words, broken relationships, and decisions made in haste that you later deeply regret. The warrior's perspective, however, reframes anger not as an enemy to be suppressed, but as a potent energy that, when understood and channeled, can become a powerful tool for decisive action. Musashi understood that a warrior's controlled fury could be the catalyst for swift, effective execution. The tactical lesson here is to learn to recognize the early signals of rising anger. This is not about ignoring the feeling, but about observing it without judgment. When you feel the heat begin to build, pause. Take a breath. Instead of letting the anger consume your judgment, ask yourself, what is the root cause of this emotion? Is it a genuine threat, or is it a reaction to a perceived slight, a frustration with a lack of control, or an unmet expectation? This moment of deliberate pause is critical. It creates a space between the stimulus and your response, allowing you to choose your action rather than being dictated by your emotion. The human example is of a craftsman faced with a flawed piece of material. Instead of smashing it in frustration, they analyze the flaw, understand its implications, and adapt their approach, perhaps altering the design or finding a new way to incorporate the imperfection. This is about transforming the destructive potential of anger into a focused intensity, a clear-eyed resolve to address the situation with precision and purpose rather than with blind rage. The goal is not to eliminate anger, but to wield it, to use its energy to fuel your resolve and sharpen your focus, ensuring that your actions are deliberate and effective, not merely reactive and destructive. The second pillar is the relentless pursuit of discipline. This is the bedrock upon which all mastery is built. Discipline is not about rigid adherence to arbitrary rules. It is the conscious, consistent practice of aligning your actions with your intentions, even when motivation wanes. You know the feeling of setting a goal, feeling the initial surge of enthusiasm, only to find yourself drifting away from it days or weeks later. The allure of comfort or distraction proving too strong. This is the erosion of discipline, the silent saboteur of progress. Musashi's teachings emphasize the importance of consistent, deliberate practice. He understood that mastery is not achieved through sporadic bursts of effort, but through the daily, unwavering commitment to honing one's skills and strengthening one's will. The tactical lesson is to break down large goals into small, manageable actions. Instead of aiming for a monumental transformation, focus on the next, immediate step. This could be as simple as dedicating 10 minutes to a skill, completing one difficult task before engaging in easier ones, or adhering to a strict sleep schedule. The human example is that of a sculptor meticulously chipping away at a block of marble. Each strike, though seemingly small, contributes to the eventual creation of a masterpiece. It is not the single, powerful blow, but the accumulation of countless precise movements that brings the form to life. Discipline, therefore, is the art of consistent effort, the quiet commitment to showing up and doing the work, day after day, regardless of how you feel. It is the internal engine that drives you forward, ensuring that your aspirations are translated into tangible results. It is the conscious choice to prioritize long-term growth over short-term gratification, building an unshakable foundation for achieving your most ambitious goals. The true practice begins now. It is not found in the grand pronouncements or the dramatic gestures, but in the quiet, consistent application of these principles in the unfolding moments of your life. It is in the deliberate breath taken before responding to provocation, in the focused effort applied to a task, even when motivation wanes, in the honest self-assessment that acknowledges imperfection without succumbing to despair. This is the ongoing work of forging the unshakable will, of transforming the battlefield of your mind into a sanctuary of purpose. The lessons are not meant to be memorized, but to be lived, to become the very rhythm of your being. The inner war does not cease, but your relationship to it is irrevocably changed. You are no longer a passive participant, tossed about by the tides of emotion and circumstance. You have become the navigator, the strategist, the master of your own vessel. The blade that cuts the self is the one that severs the illusion of external control, revealing that the ultimate power, the enduring strength, resides within your own unwavering, self-aware consciousness. You already know what to do,